Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good evening. Good afternoon for everybody that's joining us. Hey, Sean. Mitch, welcome back. Patricia, good to see you. Nicole, how you doing?
I'm good. You?
I'm
Day
doing-
3.
Day 3. Here we
Yeah,
are.
almost finished.
It's time to wrap it up.
Yep.
I'm excited. I hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day. And for those of you that celebrated the day earlier, hope you had also a wonderful Valentine's Day. We're here with Claude Piché. He's
Hello.
been joining us all week, sharing his kind of like run through on just design process, basically sharing sketches, walking us through some mobile UX and UI design. And we started dabbling in some iPad design yesterday. Claude, how are you feeling?
I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we made a lot of progress in day 2. Day 1 was started a little slow. So today I feel pretty good about day 3. I'm going to pursue on polishing some stuff up. We're going to focus also on the full iPad experience that's going to be mounted to the table too. But yeah, it's been
Awesome.
doing pretty great. I'll try to show you guys a bit of features in Adobe XD. And the goal today would be to inspire you to open the app and give it a shot. It's a really easy app to use and bring your ideas to life.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I've really enjoyed the past couple of days. Really been a great time just seeing you work in XD and just kind of see how quickly you can not only take from sketches to reality, but also how quickly you can kind of move through those screens. So for those of you that missed the first 2 episodes, you guys can definitely rewatch them. They're available. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please let us know where you're from. It's always a lot of fun just to see just the broad reach and just how many people are joining us from different parts of the world.
Like, are you just waking up, or you're going to bed, or you're just staying up all night to watch us? So it's really cool.
Yep, and also ask questions. I think yesterday we had a really good balance of kind of getting through work, but also fielding people's questions, whether they're curious about XD or if they're curious about design and the design process. We definitely love to take those questions and help out and at least try to give you guys answers if we can. We are giving away another pair of socks, so that's going to be done within the hour. So all you have to do is sign into Behance, add some comments, drop a message, say hello, let us know where you're from, ask a question, but it's just activity. We want to see you guys just chatting with us, and then we'll pick a random winner who's going to get this awesome pair of socks. Hopefully you're not wearing yours today, because that would mean...
that they would be dirty. No,
okay,
not
good.
today. Or that had a lot of different pairs.
That could be. And then we're also doing a challenge. We've got another challenge. You can find the UI kit available in the challenge tab. We're going to focus on mobile navigation today, so we'll pull that up a little bit later. But check out the challenge. Spend some time opening up the file and checking it out. And when you do get the kit, there's a lot of really great design in there and a lot of pieces that you can use to help supplement your design and speed up your process. And just with anything, make it your own. Pull it into your own library, pull it into your own style. I kind of use the Mr. Potato Head analogy, but take different parts and pieces and mix and match and make it your own.
You know what? I have a weird name, and a weird name of my process, and it's the same thing. I call it the Mambo number 5 process.
Okay.
So it's like a little bit of this for my navigation, a little bit of...
So Claude has actually been singing for us for the past 3 days. He finds some way to drop a show tune or sing in, so hopefully we get a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Also, we have a great schedule. We've got Jeannie joining us again in the afternoon. I know the schedule just popped up, and then we've got Peter joining us again later on at the end of the run.
Yeah.
Cool. Hello from Buenos Aires. Hey, Dale, Ricardo.
So you work at Atlassian, right?
Yeah, so I'm a local designer here in San Francisco. I work at Atlassian. I've been there for 3 years. I'm a design team lead. I work on Bitbucket. And previously, I was working on the mobile core team. So I was working on basically on a systems level, how we'd handle design for our entire product suite.
Super cool. Nice.
And yourself?
I work right now at ServiceNow on the innovation team. So ServiceNow is a IT service management platform where fulfiller are meeting requesters. So when you need something, just get it through a platform. I work with a team of 3 designers. We use XD pretty often because it's the fastest way for us to take the sketches to real concept. So it's really cool to work on it. Yeah.
Cool. Also, I know I haven't mentioned this in the series, but if you guys are checking either of us out, you're at Picho.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
At Peecho on Instagram. Twitter is Picho Designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I'm also on Twitter. I also have a calendar invite, so if anybody ever wants to reach out, schedule time with me, this is something I just do. You guys can book 15 up to 30 minutes with me and ask me questions. We can meet on video chat.
That's cool.
I've had a few people reach out after I've done a couple sessions here, and it's been really great just to connect with everybody. Also, I can't say this enough, but for those of you that do reach out and send messages and kind of share the sentiment of the value of the show, it definitely means a lot to anyone that's kind of hosting or anyone that's participating.
Yeah.
It's really great to get feedback. Feedback's always a gift.
Yeah.
And so thank you for those of you that reach out and try to stay connected.
For sure. Cool.
Awesome. Day 3. Let's do it.
Let's start. So for those who are joining for a first time or haven't seen the first 2 episodes, I'm just gonna quickly go over what we've been building through the last 2 days. So the overall brief here is that we got approached by a company that builds some foosball table, and they built the foosball table of the future. So it's coming with a lot of different features, and they want you as a designer to come up with concepts that will elevate that table and connect you to the table as well. So you can connect through Wi-Fi. We were also talking yesterday that maybe it's not even Wi-Fi, maybe it's just facial recognition. We would have different sensors on the players, so you could see stuff around like statistic on the players, the passing percentage, all stuff like that. We can also imagine that it's going to have a video camera that could always track the ball, so that way we can imagine some smart replays. And one of my favorite part, because I love to sing, it's around the external speakers. I think it would be pretty neat if, as a player, you could come up to the table and your pre-selected songs would play when you're there. It would be kind of cool, or if you win or something like that.
If we could all have entrance music into our lives, I think that it'd just bring a lot more joy.
Yeah. So I've just talked about a bit of the features. I'm just going to show you guys real quick how I mapped out those features to the experience. So as a UX designer, you always try to think about the overall experience from start to finish. And in that case here, we thought about the pre-game, the game time, and also the post-game. So there's a lot of things that we can think about, and how can we leverage each stage of the experience. So stuff like, I don't know if you guys have done that in the past at Atlassian, but just experience mapping the whole journey. So that way you can see where your user's at, where does he get, how does he feel at what stages, and how can we leverage every point of friction with some cool, neat stuff.
Yeah, we covered that a little bit in the last time that I shared, and we kind of classified them as personas.
Cool.
And so whether he or she as your persona is a power user, a non-power user, but being able to bring your experience back to a specific use case and a specific customer really helps you frame the expectations for the customer. So it's a really, really great place to start. Some people refer to it as kind of scenario design also. But anytime you can drop into a context and kind of get behind the driver's seat of the customer, it's really, really helpful to kind of help paint the product process.
Cool. Other things that we've been talking about is around the different touch points. So we leverage a lot of the iPhone to do a lot of the request matchup, to see a news feed, a social feed. The iPad was something that we really wanted. We worked on a lot yesterday. We had a really nice feature coming from the chat about the air horn. I think it was pretty cool. So if you guys have any sort of ideas, please post it on the chat. We'll see if we take this in consideration.
I think I think you know what they sound like. How do they go? Yeah, there we go. We got it.
Yeah, that's the DJ one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then finally, the Apple Watch was something that we could potentially touch today. It's going to be a first time for me to design anything for a watch, so I might struggle at the beginning, but let's give it a try.
Cool.
And I showed a bit of the sketches too. So these are my clean sketches. So yesterday we ended up the conversation around the fact that you can always refer back to your sketches in order to build your flow. So that helped me out a lot, and really love how you can put everything in Adobe XD, from your brief, your sketches. Maybe we could even put like mood boards in there, and everything lives in one place. So it's really easy from a workflow perspective.
And it's really fast too.
Yeah.
Mean, regardless of like the image size that you're using, I've always found that I've been able to
No lag at
snap
all.
directly into designs. So yeah, and just back on the sketches, I just wanted to, I know I've mentioned this, but just to reiterate, they're great sketches, and so thank you so much
Thanks.
for sharing them. But two, the fact that they kind of have set constraints for you kind of helps you make sure that you don't get too lost in the details. You can kind of continue to move through all these screens that you've designed for yourself in Sketch,
Yep.
and then to bring them into digital, which is really great.
Sweet. So what we can do next is probably just go through the flow that we've been working on.
Let's do it.
So I can do a demo here. So the neat thing about XD is that everything lives in one place. You design and prototype in one place, and then you can also test what you've been building in that same place too. So by clicking the top right play button here, you get a new window that is actually your live preview of the app you're working on. So I'm going to take this to full screen so you guys have a nice view here. So by tapping on, so I started the experience from, you just open your phone, you start from your phone home screen, and at this point let's pretend like you always try to put yourself in the user's shoes. So I'm at work, I just cranked some work, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm due for a break.
Yep.
So I'm gonna launch the Foosball Pro app. So by launching the app, it would bring you to a home screen where you can continue as the previously logged your user there. Yeah, and then by tapping on it, you would get brought into your news feed. So in the news feed, we imagine that we would bring them there at first so that they can keep track of who played who's talking trash on the social feed. So we see here Paul that he thinks he can beat everyone. So maybe you want to challenge Paul to play and see if he can stand up to his words. And then you can see stuff like scoring there. So you can see Michael that beat up Mark pretty bad. But it's happening.
It's fine.
And then we were thinking also about other stuff where maybe the admin of the league could drop in some photos of old tournaments or stuff like that. So we also agreed that the main action that we want the user to take at this point is probably to play a game. So that's why we have a button that sticks out a bit of the bottom navigation. So we have a lot of emphasis on it. By tapping this button, then we would bring the user. You would have like a little action card that would slide from the bottom, and in that action card you get different options. You would be able to play a friend, play someone in the same division, or someone completely random. By tapping someone in your same division, the app would then start to look around, see if there's people available. Pretty similar when you, order a ride on Uber, and then you see that it's scanning some drivers around, and then someone pop up. In our case, we have 3 potential player that we can challenge. At this point, I want to challenge Michael Chase, because maybe we can talk a bit of French while we play there.
Yeah, why not?
So by tapping on this, then you would get some just a bit of setup without like over-complexing stuff. Just a few options in there, because we want to make it still pretty simple. You could potentially play a competitive match or a friendly matchup. So you could toggle between the two here. and then you could bucket tables. Something that we could potentially design to today is stuff like micro interactions around what does a drop down look like. So we could potentially do that later.
Yep.
And then let's say I have all my option done. You could send the invite. You can see that the invite was sent. And then later on, you would jump then to Michael's phone, who receives a notification on his phone, and then he could accept or decline your invitation. If he accepts, then it would you guys would meet at the table at the desired time. So now I can X out of that. So you can see that we covered a lot of the breadth and a lot of the number one scenario here that we want to cover. It's just to create a matchup and go for and play a game. I added stuff like in there like the game time in my flow, so we can know and understand that at this time they're playing. And we started also yesterday to work on the iPad experience that's going to be mounted to the table. So like I said yesterday, I think I'm like 70% there with that. Maybe we could add more stuff in there. We'll see. Again, if you have ideas on the chat, please send over.
Yeah,
And
let us know.
And yeah, so at this point in the here for the iPad, we had the score. You could see goals coming here, like when someone score, maybe it's going to be their color team and the big goal, and then tap on the air horn, and then the other the other player would like be a little mad and try to beat you again. We could see live replays, and that's pretty much it. So we're pretty far ahead, I think, in the experience. Today I want to focus on doing that last screen that shows the game summary. So once the game is completed, so it shows stuff around the advanced stats, like the ball position and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. Great. So again, for those of you that are joining us, we have Claude Piché here. We're going through a foosball kind of mobile experience, but also we've defined it as a continuous experience. So it's going between a lot of different platforms, from iPad, maybe watch. So please send us questions. Michael says he's a little disappointed that he lost to you here. So.
Well, the game is not over yet. This is like during the game.
Oh, this is maybe, in the middle.
So
there's
we're
still
gonna work on the summary
there's
right now.
Chance.
Yeah. So we should be. We'll see. We shall see.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm gonna work on that for a bit, just to set up my my stuff here. You can see that I brought my sketch in. So that's the sketch I'll be. At least getting my ideas of content and what should be in there, so I can work on that.
Great. And so to everyone that's joining us, also ask questions. Let us know if there's anything you're curious about. There's actually a couple things that I wanted to highlight in your experience. You know, from what you're showing in mobile, you're showing this static loading screen, and you know, maybe you did this subconsciously, maybe you didn't. But why do you think it's important to show that?
This screen?
The screen here where it's showing that you're kind of looking for an opponent.
I think there's different ways. I think it's kind of if you think towards the app on the technical side, it's a loading time that they could like show nothing.
Right.
But then from a UX perspective, you kind of want to show that, we're looking for someone that is matching your skills. So you're like, oh my God, the app is really smart. They're finding the best matchup for me. But in the reality, they're just doing a little quick load to see who's available.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to highlight is that it's kind of a feedback mechanism to the customer to let it know that maybe there's some magic happening. But the fact that we're showing it in a prototype is intentional because we're trying to demonstrate or simulate somewhat of an authentic experience.
Exactly.
And even though we can tap through that experience, whether we're viewing it on our mobile or if we're doing it in the prototype screen, it's just a good way to kind of convey a bit more of an authentic experience. So I just wanted to highlight that I think it's great that you think about some of those kind of smaller interactions that exist between kind of the main primary call to actions. Yeah, Mateus, I think I heard there's one table here at Adobe. Just one.
So we're gonna make Michael win because he mentioned it. So it was a big comeback. I was leading 4-2, but maybe I played too much on the hair horn and and Michael got a little pissed.
He got a little distracted.
All right, cool. I'm gonna set up some styles too.
I also thought it was really interesting the way you're thinking about the primary views of the app, and you started with the activity feed. I think that's pretty. It's a known paradigm that I think exists across a lot of apps, right? From Instagram to Facebook. I'm sure
LinkedIn too.
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah. But this kind of, I'm discovering there's something about me. There's something that's a primary key to action, and then some form of notifications. Those are generally kind of some pretty good staples that I think exist in most mobile experiences. And so I don't know if you guys see something else or another app that's doing the same. Maybe now you'll kind of recognize it or acknowledge it. But definitely a safe bet when it comes to kind of thinking about the primary views within mobile. So for the challenge, I think we're going to be focused on mobile navigation. Whoever submits...
What type of ideas could we do with that? Like
for mobile nav?
Yeah, like delivering pizza.
When I think of navigation, I think it could also just be interesting to see how you architect the information of the app, right? So outside of like what the features are, is there some type of profile view? Is there some type of nested navigation view that comes out in a drawer? Or is it just views that are happening in the primary tab? But yeah, I can pull up the kit real quick just to show the screens and just kind of what people are going to be working with. So in the challenge, I'm already zoomed into the main view here. And I'm focused on menus because I think this is probably the navigation portion that you'll want to be focused on. So we're seeing a couple different versions here of how to handle kind of an overflow panel. Some of these are actually pretty synonymous between iOS and Android. We're seeing some drop-down menus, but there's all different types and forms there. And then, whether or not you choose to start on these types of views or navigate between any of this other content in here between statistics or activity, there's a lot of really, really great content in here. And also just visual design is really nice and clean. They're kind of focused on this kind of white high contrast with kind of the dark contrast in the profile view, which is a good way to architect mental models when it comes to customers. But yes, submit your challenge. We're gonna have Claude pick the winner.
Yeah, we can also critique on some of your stuff too. So
yeah, happy to provide some feedback, and then the winner is gonna be getting a year's subscription of Adobe CC, which is awesome. So Tony asked, is this final design or is this just the user journey?
I think it's a good question. It's always hard to call final design in the world of web and also like apps and stuff. It's really hard to call it out. Before going to the web, I was slightly more into the print. And at one point you had to call it final because it's an output and it's just coming back. But I would say that we're pretty close. I feel pretty great overall about the style that we establish. There's for sure some stuff that I would still want to polish in there for sure. But I feel good about the typefaces. I feel good about the colors. I feel good about those rounded shapes we've been playing with, those fully rounded buttons. So overall, I feel pretty good about it. So
yeah, and I think you started to hint at this, but I mean, done is never really done unless it's shipped to some degree to the customer. But then, as you mentioned, within design, everything can always be iterated on. And so, I think the way that we could help answer Tani's question also is if we were to go around and show this to some people and whether or not they were able to use the app or they were able to understand it.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good indication that we're in the right direction.
Oh, for sure, you want to move fast as possible and put this in front of users. Don't spend so much time just trying to make everything 100% perfect. Right. Pretty sure some early round of user testing, you'll get the learning that you need to improve and call it more for the final. Yeah.
So somebody wants to know if you're a gamer. Do you play Overwatch?
If I'm a player,
gamer,
okay. I play on the PS4. I can say that I'm a really good NHL 18 player. So if anyone wants to challenge me,
awesome.
Yeah. Find some stuff.
I think they were referring to the font. The font looks like an Overwatch font style.
Oh, okay. All right. It's pretty good. Maybe we can put something. All right, so I'm building this summary screen. So what I want to do at the top portion of the page is to punch with some intent colors here with my blue, and maybe have some sort of a title that just summarizes the game or just tells you as a user, let's say you would get destroyed 10-2 and it may be yikes,
right,
this was a rough one. In that case, it was a really tight game, so maybe we can say close game or something like that, so just to had a bit of a little sprinkle of delight in the experience here.
Yep, absolutely. So Kevin asked a question, what is better to convey an idea just using 3 screens or showing many sites? And I think Kevin asked a similar question
yesterday.
And so I think it's if the 3 screens can demonstrate the value or demonstrate the experience you're trying to capture, then you can start with 3 screens if that's your goal. If you're also trying to create a complete product experience to then get developed or to help pitch an idea, you show more screens. And the reason you show more screens is it helps you to one, think deeply about the experience, but 2, to also help navigate and field questions. If somebody's like, oh well, how do I change my username, or how do I update my password, or if I'm posting all this content, where does that content live? You want to think about that end-to-end experience, which is probably going to go beyond the 3 screens, because the 3 primary screens may just end up being some form of activity or populated meta. Yeah. But that's all coming from an interaction of, recording something or taking a photo or writing something or drawing something. There's some type of input there. And so you kind of have to think about each of those cases to help demonstrate a full product experience. So Johnny said you could rate your opponent. That sounds like a cool idea.
That's cool. Was he a fair play kind of player?
Mm-hmm. Or was he
just a little too serious?
Just slamming on the air horn the whole time?
Cool.
Is that loud? So we will be giving away a pair of socks.
ask questions, be active on the chat. Any type of questions is valid.
Just say hi. Let us know where you're from. And then we're going to send these to you. And then you can wear them. You can have warm feet. They're great. I have a pair. You have a pair.
Yep.
Gus, do you have a pair?
Oh yeah.
Gus has a pair.
All right. So now I'm just going to put in some advanced stats.
So Mateus is sending a friendly reminder, and maybe we can show this also, about how to export the design assets, which is another great feature of XD.
Oh, yeah,
It'd
for
also
sure.
be cool to cover the feature that came out this week. I'll set up my station just so I can pull up the Illustrator file, but they released the ability to have vector and shared vector in your CC library. So I can make edits to a logo that we're sharing between XD or any Adobe product, and it'll update asynchronously across everybody's experience. So we'll demonstrate that a little bit later.
Yeah.
What would be your steps if you were to export this? I don't want to stop
Wrapping.
in mid-flow.
Yeah. I just want to say hi to Jonathan. He's from Montreal.
Awesome.
Donc, j'espère qu'il fait pas trop froid. I hope it's not too cold over there. So, thanks for joining.
C'est trois fois.
Yeah, so to export, sorry about that. To export an asset, the way you would do it in Adobe XD is really easy actually. Let's say, for example, I would need to export that Adobe logo that's going to be used for the league name here. You would click on the asset, like the actual shape itself, and then hit Command E in there, and then you Command E or File Export, I would believe. File, yeah. If you go File Export, does it do selected? And then so here you would get different options that you can work from. So PNG, SVG, PDF, or JPEG. And then, for example, if you save an PDF, then the PNG, and then you tap in on iOS here, you could export it for 1x, 2x, and 3x right from there. So in that case, you can provide all what your dev requests.
Yep, and you can do that on the whole artboard as well. It doesn't just
Exactly.
have to be on individual assets.
So tapping on the artboard title here, and then you could do File Export, select it again, and then you would just get the whole screen in there. Right, cool. Bulb session. Then you would do center.
Yeah, it's actually beautiful weather today in San Francisco. It's really nice. I think
It's been really nice all
Michael
week.
said that, yeah.
All right. So let's put some numbers here. Maybe I possess the ball for 44%. Then Michael possessed for what should 56?
Angie, can you clarify your question on example of asset configurations? Would you like us to show just kind of how the asset library works, or how we add components to the asset library? Yeah, we're getting some great suggestions from Tani to create teams,
Oh, nice.
display leaderboards.
That's cool. All right, so here I would get some advanced statistics, and at the same time I'm gonna show you my favorite feature. I know we got asked that question 2 days ago. What was your favorite feature of the app? For me, it's for sure the repeat grid. I love to move really fast and not think too much, and not do stuff that is quite just repetitive and robotic. So I love how Adobe XD allows you to move really fast with that. So by selecting, I'm going to show you the repeat grid. By selecting elements that you might want to repeat, in that case, we'll have some a statistic table here So it's something that where I could just move, select everything, hit the repeat grid to the top right here, or Command R. By hitting Command R, then I see that the whole thing is selected and in green too, and I can see the different handles in there. So by clicking and dragging on those handles, and then you can repeat the different content that is there. So now I could repeat that, and then change the copy everywhere, and then change the content. So makes it super easy for me to build full pages. In that case, we'll have maybe 4 stats here. So I feel like I could pretty much go all the way down. So another fun part of the repeat grid is that you can also adjust the padding, and it's going to adjust everywhere magically. I just love it every time. I've been using it and showcasing that feature for a long time, and then every time it just brings pure magic.
It's definitely one of those magical moments.
Yeah.
So one of the great things about collaborating with a really large group of people, good, you got it. What? So everybody was was commenting about the missed percentage sign.
Oh,
but that's one of the great things
God.
about sharing with everybody is that a lot of people can help you kind of pick up on
because
missed details.
We're in it. There's a lot of screens going on here, a lot of stuff, so it's quite confusing sometimes to design, but thank you. Right, what else we can have in terms of statistics, shot attempts. So again, our table is really smart. It has some, is that how you? It has sensors on the player, so we can measure a lot of stuff and maybe show you stats overall. And after way more time, we've been talking yesterday about, in the challenge there was a dashboard showing data. Maybe it's something that we could potentially work on and grab your stats over time and show you where is your strengths, maybe your forward, or are you someone that scores with your forward? Are you trying shots with your forwards or your back players or your defense? So even as a user, maybe if you're going to match up with someone, you can go check out their stats and see what's their strategy, so you can learn to be better this way.
Awesome. There was another question asking about being able to adjust the repeat grid padding at any point in time. I know that sometimes it's simply a hover state. I know that sometimes depending on how small the distance is between the two, it can be hard to grab it. But yeah, it's if you click in, you should be able, or there should be able to hover state, and then it demonstrates the pink backfill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. Also, another thing about the repeat grid. In our case today, I want to highlight in that table. I want to highlight maybe the different numbers. So by changing it to like book to bold, it would affect everywhere right there. And then same thing on the other side. We put like the numbers in bold, so it has more contrast, and And something that we could potentially do too is to break up the repeat grid. Once you're done with it and set up your structure, then you can maybe break it, and maybe we could apply bold on like the winning row. So let's say I'm like in that first row, Michael would have 56% against 44. Maybe we just want to put the bold on the 56.
And I think by breaking you mean on grouping. Right?
On grouping, yeah. So if you tap on your grid, you can ungroup the grid, so that way your elements are all separated and you can adjust manually. So Michael is a really good player, so he got 10 out of 11 shots.
So we mentioned the repeat grid is a big favorite, and then we've also discussed a lot about within XD how you can just, I mean, as you're kind of demonstrating here, just how you can prototype very, very quickly. I think one of the things that we could also maybe make sure to do today is share the prototype, or at least post the link so that other people can kind of click through the prototypes and see it. So we'll make sure to share that with you guys and girls.
Maybe we just do this.
Yeah, there's been a lot of great comments about the font, which I think shows, the kind of the intention behind choosing a great font. Seeing how people can kind of respond to it and just say, oh yeah, like it works. It fits kind of the sport
It's
aspect.
sporty
Yeah.
looking, right? I think it works pretty well. It's also an Adobe type Git font, so if you are a member of Adobe Creative Cloud, you got it for free. So.
And do you download those locally, or do you?
I'm not sure I'm pretty sure I sync them through the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so pretty much done with this screen so far. I think it looks all right. Not perfect, but close enough. So then the only final step would be to bring back my news feed to the end of the experience. So you see I can duplicate the artboard pretty easy. If you tap on it, you hold option here, click and drag, and then it creates a copy of it. And then I'm just gonna go move it at the end of my experience here. So we want to show that the newsfeed got updated. If you're tapping on done, we bring back the user right to this part. So I'm gonna bring everything down and maybe share the score update again. So another game has been created. So if I copy this up here, I love those smart alignment cue here too, like just highlights that you're correctly aligned.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, like within doing design and within showing a prototype, what do you think is the most important thing to convey when doing a prototype? Is it mimicking the interactions like 100%? Is it excuse me? Is it demonstrating the kind of like user journey? Is it about creating every single experience, every single click through? But within prototyping, what do you think is?
That's a good. I think it's always depends at what stage are you to. For example, if we take that case here and we got approached, I don't know, a month ago, and they gave us that brief, we would have probably go into a lot of first we're going to admit like a lot of stuff around the strategy, map out the experience, talk to the users, see who we're dealing with. But just as far as like a prototype itself, I always think that enough to get your validation at any type of stage. So if it's with a stakeholder and you're at the concept phase, I would probably do that level of screen and that level of fidelity, because I think it's just enough to show and get a validation and get a go on the overall concept. Yeah, I think yeah. And we've been working on this project for now like 5 hours, so it's not like you don't spend a lot, which I think is kind of crazy to think about it, but we've been working on this for 5 hours and we already have enough to provide a direction.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Like the value of a prototype is just to get it in front of someone to help make kind of informed decisions.
Yeah. Did you wanted to show that?
Yeah, let me open up Illustrator while you're working over there, and then we can demonstrate. There was still a question about populating the asset library, so maybe once we show the logos, if there's something we want to show how to add to the asset library, maybe even how we can tweak colors on a global level.
Yep.
That stuff would be great.
Set your character styles and So, all right.
Imagine if we were just like both working at the same time
and then just
design,
jamming.
Little design jam session. Alrighty.
Right. 9 here. All right, so that would like pretty much be the end of the experience as far as the mobile and MVP flow of playing someone from the requests portion all the way down to showing the post-game recap.
Awesome.
Cool.
Let's
Wanna try it out.
Yeah, let's show the logo real quick. So for me, I've got Illustrator open over here. I still use Illustrator quite a bit between kind of using vector and sometimes even icon design. And so we have the logo that was submitted by Hafid on Monday, and Hafid won.
Yep.
So thanks so much for kind of contributing and collaborating with us. It's great just to have your logo kind of being on the app. So I'm just going to make some really minimal changes. We'll just maybe we'll update the body. Maybe we'll update the body to red so that kind of the head and the body are connected and the legs are separate. Or we can do vice versa. And then, so this is in a shared library on Adobe CC. It's called Anton and Irene. We had a group of logos provided by them. And we dragged over Hafid's logo into here also, just so we could have the same folder that we're using. And then if you double click on one of these icons, it's going to open it up into a new window. And so now if I save this update, we just saw it kind of update over here. And then what we're waiting for is then if we switch over to Claude's screen, is we'd like to see the logo come in real time and update on his screen. There we go.
Now it's updated. So really easy. Let's say you would be in Europe right now, you're working on something. I'm here in San Francisco, you update some stuff, and then on the fly I can see that things are moving. So you could have someone that could be a visual designer that works like pretty much on just the aesthetics. I focus on the UX flow, and then we can work in parallel, so it makes the workflow really fast.
Yeah, so we already have the update showing up on Claude's screen in XD. And, you know, like to your point, imagine if you had a team of people that were just working on iconography. You know, you could essentially not even have to worry about any of the icons, anything that you're using. And a whole nother team could be going through iterations, through decisions.
Yeah.
And you would just be seeing these updates come into the product. It's pretty incredible.
Cool. I think there's someone that is the same.
See score.
Good.
Hey, Diego. So everybody, we've got Claude Piché here working on a Foosball experience, which is a kind of competitive mobile experience that works for teams, large teams of people that are in a company that provides a foosball table for them. We've been working through the mobile experience as well as the iPad experience. I think you were saying that it'd be really awesome if there was an iPad mounted on the table. You've seen some companies kind of working on that. And Claude's just been walking us through what this prototyping experience looks like from sketch to digital. We've been plugging it into the actual prototype and clicking through the experience.
Yep. So one thing that we can potentially do right now is to show how to populate your asset library. So some people mentioned this on the chat. I would say that once you're, like right now we're kind of completed with that initial pass at the visual design and the overall flow. So at this point, at least for me in the process, I don't like to set all my styles all the way up front when I'm not, when I did like, let's say one screen, because things can shift as you move along. Yeah. But once you're done with like at least a first pass, or like you crank for a few hours and you feel pretty good about overall style that you didn't really set so far, because you don't want to like constrain yourself too much. But if you're happy about the result you're having right now, it's really good to start to set yourself a bit of rules so that you can be consistent across the whole design process. So Adobe makes it really easy for you to set up your styles. So in that case, let's say we would like we're super happy about that link here, the challenge ball. So we're good with the font, we're good with the color, and we're like, all right, I'm gonna make this a style because I'm gonna reuse that actual style across the experience. So by tapping on the text box here, you can go all the way to the left in the character style that you see over here, and then if you tap on the plus button, you can see that Adobe XD is now populating a style that you can later on reuse. So by reusing it, it's pretty easy. You can tap on any sort of text. Let's say I want to make this, that link. You tap on it and then it just applies the style to it. But right now I don't want to do that. Another thing that makes it really interesting is that by populating all your assets on the left here, you can then quickly change and it's going to affect the styles across all artboards. So let's say, for example, that the color blue for links is a little confusing because you're also using blue for one team player, for example. So you could go all the way to the left here, right click here and then do edit. So then you get a little popover menu here, and then you can change the color and see that it's going to affect, wait, I'm just going to set this to the style, and then see that if I edit here, it's going to affect everywhere in my experience. So really useful, super good to use those character style.
Yeah, and to your point, if you kind of, I know, I lost Patricia terribly. Michael's just dominating. But doing this at the end and kind of building your whole systems library, you can see how easy it is just to kind of click and then add, click on the object and then add the plus sign to add it to the asset library.
Yeah.
Once you've kind of built the entire library, you can pretty much change every aspect of it globally, from buttons to colors. So you can really start, if you're iterating on that level of just maybe on colors and brand, you can make those changes globally, which is really, really helpful. It's also really cool to see it when you have, I think when I was at Adobe Max this year, they demoed it across 50 screens, and it was kind of this beautiful magenta product experience. They're like, well, we'll make it green, and it just instantly changed the entire screen, artboards.
So you could do stuff, edit here.
I know Lindsay asked this earlier also. She mentioned how to get in contact. So just for me, I'm on my Twitter profile. I have a little link that's called Calendly, and you just click on it and then you find some time. And then
that's cool.
If anybody ever wants to reach out, have questions about design, UX, getting into design, also critique and stuff like that, happy to help out. So.
Cool.
And we are almost at giveaway time for the socks. So we've got about 7 minutes left.
Okay, cool.
So say hi, let us know where you're from. If you haven't joined Behance or joined the chat, make sure you sign up and just let us know where you're from. Let us know if you have any questions. Critique the design, share ideas. We're all here. We're just kind of collaborating, which is awesome.
I would like to know, at what stage of you guys' career are you guys working right now at the moment? Are you guys in school, or are you guys just thinking about starting a career in design? That would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, that's a great question. Or let us know about what you're interested in knowing about XD. Whether or not you're just getting started, or you consider yourself you've been using it for the past year.
Cool. We can show that later too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So Amara says she's in school and would like a career in design. Margarita's working full time. Jonathan just finished BFA at Concordia, looking for a designer job. We got some, so
nice.
pretty broad spectrum.
Nice. It's cool. To
Yeah,
see.
it's cool. It's just cool to see that there's people that are still in school, people that are intrigued about getting into design. 18 years in print design. That's incredible. That's awesome. What a craft. Got some people from LA. Patricia's asked me to stop stretching the socks. So I'll have to stop stretching them. It's kind of hot in here. Engineering student, awesome. Yeah, wow. Really, really cool. Yeah, this is great. Diego actually made an appearance, as well as Laura. I haven't seen Laura in today, but yeah, Diego made an appearance in my app last time I was.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I was in the seat that you're in.
That's cool.
So it's a lot of fun to kind of like bring the actual faces in from the people, make them a part of the product.
Nice. Do you have a winner?
We do have a winner. Do you know who it is?
No idea.
Do you want a drum roll? All right, Erica Cotters.
Big winner.
Is the winner for the Adobe XD socks.
Good job.
These are yours. This exact pair is actually gonna get. No, we have a whole box of them somewhere, I'm sure. Maybe a closet, but we are gonna send you a pair of socks. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Erica Cotton. And
so
what would
maybe
you like to do?
I think I'm gonna show some people how to prototype in there. If people as it's not being in the past two shows, maybe we can show a bit of how to create interactions from a screen to another, and then show how it affects live on the phone too.
Great.
That could be kind of cool. So I don't know. Can we get hooked up to the GoPro as well? Cool. Super.
Yes, and also if you didn't wear a pair of socks in this segment, that's totally fine. You have two more opportunities with Jeannie and Peter joining us later on. So make sure to check out their session. You can also win a pair of socks there.
Cool. So I'll start by just showing how to prototype, and then we can show on the phone how it affects live. We've talked yesterday about the fact that it's good to design on your desktop screen and set up some styles and stuff, but if the final output is a iOS app, then you should really work on previewing on your real device so you get the real thing.
Is this kind of what we're going for? Do we want to hover over the screen?
Yeah, we can. Yeah. So you can see right here. Wow, a big close up of my hands. It's good.
Rotate that a little bit.
All right. So you can see that
let's also just like so what we've done to get here, right? So we have the prototype in Adobe XD. We've downloaded the XD mobile app, which is on your phone,
included with your Creative Cloud.
Yeah, you just log in with your Creative Cloud account, and then what we've done is we've actually plugged the phone into the computer, which is one of the requirements to kind of get to this point. And so once you've plugged it in, it's pretty instant. Maybe in a refresh state. And then what you do is whatever screen you're currently clicked on in the prototype is what's going to show up on the device. And so right now what we've done is mocked up. And
everything is live too. So like, whoa, that icon is going across my phone. I'm like, but I've prototyped some of this stuff yesterday, so you can show that you can get the real feel by tapping on the actual icon. You can see that. The idea of prototyping is to simulate what it could be. So, and then I could tap in continue as Picho. Oh, you can see that my font, awesome, hasn't loaded in there. So, guys, we just broke it. So maybe we could create the outlines, and so that's why maybe I but we can still pursue in there and show it. So let's pretend that there's a play button here. You can see that the matchup options are there. You can tap on same division matchup. Then we've been talking about that little moment of looking for people. Then you can see the different things in here. And then let's say at this point I feel like maybe we can highlight the player's name, for example, with some blue. You can see that it's gonna do it live, which I really like. At the same time, no there's basically no lag time here. It's all live. And then you just move stuff around. You can adjust all you want, and it's instant. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's
I've
awesome.
seen apps in the past where you work and then you move stuff, then you wait a split second, and then you like move it again, and then you're like. So I really like how it's instant by plugging it USB to your computer. So if we pursue here, we tap on Michael Chase. There's stuff that has been gone here, but we'll fix it later. That's why you prototype. You can see that we're missing a link. So competitive, and then you would move forward. And then you see the invite was sent. I'm missing a step here. So you can see how fast it is. So okay, now it's done. Perfect. I'm like legit connecting the screen right in front of you and then testing out my prototype, doing a little phase of QA on the work I've been doing. So if I accept, then it would go here. Accept. Oh, it's not a hardboard, so okay. Except you would be bring to the iPad experience. So at this point, we don't have an iPad. It would be nice if an iPad would just pop in my hand and we just switch over. But so I think you guys get the story here, where you can preview stuff on your phone. In the past too, when we were doing live user testing with some real user, you can give them the phone. Set up a recording station.
Mm-hmm.
I bet there's like apps out there that like has some like thumb heat map type of things, right? Like where they see where the people are hitting on the screen.
For prototypes or just for apps in general?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, heat mapping is going to be like provided on an analytical level.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to determine where high click areas, where kind of hot zones. And when we're describing heat map, try to think of, in the same way you see a weather map on the news, where you're starting to see saturation of, maybe some type of temperament or some type of water, but it's basically an indication of a lot of activity.
Yeah.
And it's displayed in kind of warm and cool colors. But yeah, those are really, really valuable, especially if you've, kind of designed some screens that maybe aren't getting used as much, right?
Yeah. So Patricia is asking that so you directly connect the links on XD and directly connect to your phone. Exactly. So you just put it in, download the XD app on the App Store, and magically it will show the current artboard that you're on, and you can tap over and see the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Awesome. I'm really excited about seeing the challenge today. Also, we've had 2 days of really, really great activity. The first day we did what was day one? Was that the smartwatch? Smartwatch was day one.
Yep.
Second day was dashboard, and then day 3 we've shared a mobile prototype with you, which you guys can download in the challenge section. Yeah, you've almost got another half hour to kind of submit your final designs. And then once you download the library, there's just a lot of great content that you can use in the UI kit. And we're excited to see what you guys come up with. Looks like, Claude, you've got some wireframing coming up.
So this is also a template coming from Adobe XD. I really love how Adobe is providing you with such good places to start from. So for example, in that case, let's say I would like to build a profile page, like a player profile type of page. I could go in there, and then Adobe provides you just bunch of things in here that you can start from. So in our example today, maybe we can start with something like this page over here, or that could be kind of fun. And just copy this from a file, bring it into your file, and then start to populate this this page. Maybe we can just, it's always great to start with a base. So I could change my styles over here and say it's player profile then go ahead and change this to @Picho. You can also follow on Instagram if you want. San Diego.
I think we follow each other now on Instagram.
Yeah, we're friends.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It's
and
official.
on Dribble, which is cool.
Yeah.
We're friends for life now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be inseparable. It's going to be great.
My name is
Erica, hey, it's okay if you can't do the challenge. That's fine. It's still cool just to download the kit. That way, if you ever are feeling inspired or you want to get something started out, you've got that available for you. Also, I mean, you won the socks today, so I think it's time to just kind of rest on those laurels, and as soon as we send those socks to you, you can just enjoy those. So, no pressure, but for everybody also that is participating, it's a lot of fun just to see the work, and in just such a short amount of time.
Yep.
That people can create prototypes and full-fledged mock-ups.
So we can see here that whoops, I'm on the wrong one.
These kits just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, so you can see like I start from it, then I apply my visual style that I've established, and for me it just goes really fast. We can probably show some of my best goal highlights in there too, that people could just go see in there. So maybe I can open here.
Yeah, and so in case you missed this, Claude just opened up one of the UI wireframing kits that's provided, and now what he's doing is he's using essentially what's already populated on the screen.
Yeah.
And then, as he mentioned, he's going to start adding his style.
There's so much stuff in there that you guys can work with.
And you already have your asset library too. So as soon as you want to start making font changes and color changes, it's going to be pretty quick.
Right. So if I can maybe drag in a few images in there, so you can see that populates. So maybe this is my latest game highlight. This player made the sickest goal, and yeah. So now avatar, I can go ahead and check myself here. This is another quick and dirty feature that is really fun to use, but just by having all your assets separated into your Finder, you can easily click and drag, and in that case you can see that this will be highlighted, magically masked in there. Really easy to do. This is not like 100%. That's why I would need to spend a bit more time to make it my own profile. Maybe we can add data around just overall stats, maybe pie charts of your progress, your number of wins, your stats, and all that stuff.
Yeah, we've got the 3 categories here that say shots, projects, and followers. What are some things that you think would be valuable on a foosball level? Like, you could show wins. You could show shots. Like, it could be the amount of kicks or attempts that you've had.
Attempts would be good. Yeah. So let's
losses. I don't know. Would you want to show losses on a leaderboard?
Maybe.
I know I wouldn't, because I've lost both my games so far.
You could put 23 wins. Let's say, or let's do 23 games played. Then you would put 20 win. And 12 losses. Maybe this could be another color, so I go in my asset library, select a little black here. So yeah, something like that. Maybe we can, something around this would be kind of cool. So yesterday we also worked on that iPad experience. I think it's getting pretty good. We wanted maybe what happened to showcase what happened if you tap on the Spotify little button at the top. Maybe you can see a playlist that would pop from the side. So maybe that's something that we could potentially do here.
Yeah.
So if you guys know any good songs that we could potentially put in a Foosball Foosball playlist. Maybe just shoot it on the chat, and we'll populate the content a bit later. That'd be kind of cool. So I just duplicate this artboard here, and then I would probably bring all my elements, and then we're gonna probably do like a so if you tap on it, then the menu would like come from the side and have a little overlay on the rest. That could be kind of a fun interaction to play with.
Yeah, I think that just having kind of the UI hint at the side, there's a little bit of an implied interaction on maybe where it's going to animate from. Which I know in XD we can then do like a push or a slide animation in.
Gonna work a bit on that for now.
So how's everybody doing out there? Does anybody have any questions for Claude or myself? Anything that they'd like to see in the design? We've been working on a Foosball companion app over the past couple days, and we've been working on a continuous experience between mobile and to the iPad. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you have any ideas.
Feedback.
So Kaylee asked, what is one feature you wish XD had?
Oh, well, I think it's coming, and I think I have a good sense that it's coming because XD works. The way they work and they build their roadmap is based on user feedback. So they have a forum out there that you can submit some feature requests, and the most top voted features will go all the way to the top.
Right.
So, and I've seen that the fixed element will be some of the next feature that they're gonna work on. So I think this will be super nice. If we're talking about simulating a real app experiences, I think right now I wish it would be there, but I know that it's coming pretty soon. That would be kind of really cool. So let's say you can think about the bottom navigation that I have right now. What if like you would scroll and see the full news feed coming here and see that the nav bar is fixed to the bottom? So that would be kind of a cool little feature that I would like.
Yeah, I've definitely had the desire to have static UI elements or persistent headers, especially if you're trying to convey scrolling.
Yeah.
So yeah, being able to kind of anchor those or have them stay static as well as other pieces moving. Sounds like a great feature. Really great question. Amara, yes, if you do edit elements in Illustrator and they're connected in your Adobe library or your CC library, they will update automatically. So you can definitely make edits in Illustrator that will show up in XD. They just have to be connected into a shared folder.
Let's go see really quick. I'm just gonna launch Spotify real quick to see how they build their playlist, just to get an idea. Yes, it's title artists time, right? So let's do. We were talking yesterday. My song would be Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Thunderstruck. So I'm going to show you at the same time that this is a really great little use of the repeat grid too. So you can see maybe we put a number in front. And then AC/DC, and let's just say that this song is 4 minutes to 32. Right, and then just add a line in between. Maybe a play button too would be nice. something like that. So more songs in maybe 2 minutes. I want the chat to blow away with a bunch of content. That would be kind of cool. Cheat sheet. So I showed that yesterday, but we just saw that it was a little problem with loading inside when you use the Adobe XD, but I think it's still pretty cool.
So you're building kind of your playlist
Yeah.
selector right now.
Little play button here. So, you know,
Awesome.
in just a bit, you can tap here. Let's see, do playlist. Something like that.
So thank you so much for everybody that's already starting to
We have
submit.
submission.
Yeah,
Nice.
we've got a few submissions. Thanks everybody that's starting to kind of share their ideas. We're doing a challenge right now on mobile navigation, and there's a UI kit that's provided in the chat menu that everybody's in the challenge tab. So yeah, we're really excited to see everyone's submissions. Claude's gonna pick the winner, who's gonna get a year's subscription of Adobe CC.
Yep.
If you don't get the time to kind of submit your designs within this segment, we have 2 more segments that are coming in after Claude that are going all the way up until I think 5 p.m. our time, 3 p.m. our time. But we've got Jeannie and Peter that are joining us later on, so make sure to check in and yeah, stick around if you have the time. I kind of tune in, so when I head out of here and head back to the office, I like to have the video running in my background because it's really cool to kind of hear the ambient noise. It's actually really relaxing, but it's also great just to kind of hear what other people are talking about, and you can on occasion kind of pick up some pro tips from all the great talent that kind of have been on Adobe.
Let's see how quick it is to adjust stuff here. It's pretty cool.
So Kaylee, if you're trying to bring the UI kit into your file, I think you just want to download the UI kit and then you can open it up in XD, and it'll probably open up as a new window or a new project, and then you can kind of drag and drop those assets if you're trying to bring them into your specific file. We're getting some great song suggestions.
I need some songs.
Yeah, so we've got Jumpman by Drake. We've got Stronger.
Jumpman. Right.
Stronger by Kanye.
Drake from Toronto, Canada, represent.
Stronger
Stronger.
by Kanye.
Right.
Comment on dit stronger en français?
Plus fort.
Plus fort.
Plus fort. What else?
We've got Can't Hold Us by Macklemore.
Oh, I really like the Rick Astley one. That's pretty cool. I won't sing again.
The old Rick roll. That'd be a good troll song to have on your right next to the air horn. You can just Rick roll somebody.
Rick Astley.
Baba O'Reilly.
Oh my God, SVP mon ange. We're gonna put, that's a Quebec song. We'll put this in. That's pretty good.
Denise says Thunder by Imagine Dragons.
Oh wait, right. Thunder. Alright. I feel like now we're building a music app. Losing focus right now. Building some unnecessary features.
Well, I don't know if it's unnecessary. I mean, that's kind of to be decided.
Right, we can see that all the songs are the exact same length. So, right. Another thing I want to show real quick is kind of the background blur feature. So in that case, the interaction that we're trying to achieve right now is that basically this screen right here will be will be on the iPad that is mounted to the table. So as you play, as you're the player here, you can see the live score of what's going on. So no cheating, no more cheating in foosball. I've been with cheaters a lot. I've cheated maybe one time. I won't really say it, but where when you score a point, you take two little points instead of one. So now we're stopping the cheaters by having this smart table. So a feature that we thought was pretty interesting is to have some sort of a Spotify integration that we could bring in the experience. And right now we're designing the interactions that would allow the user just to tap on it and just change the song, really similar to type of a kind of a jukebox type of experience. Just change it here. And one thing I want to show is that the background blur feature is a really great way to simulate some of the native iOS experience, where when you tap on some stuff, sometimes you can see that you're still in there, you're still in the experience, but it's just blurred in the background. So that's what we'll do right now. So by selecting, I like drag the shape here, you can see that in the background is my content. So by masking, it's kind of masking over the background with a white shape, I can hit here on the right, it's called the background blur. So if you check this, then you can see that behind it right here is my background. You can adjust the blur to have maybe a little less blur here. And then I believe you can change also the fill, or like if you want to bring slightly darker in here, so you can see that once we'll connect those two screens, that we can do right away if we want. By another great things about Adobe XD is that you design and prototype at the same place. So by toggling from design to prototype at the top here, you're changing the mode of XD. And then right here, you select the tappable area. So you can see that by clicking on that player, it does that blue shape around it. And then if you click and drag on the arrow here, you're going to determine where you want it to land. And in our case here, we want to land it on this open state of the playlist. And we can say that, it's going to be a slide from the left. Slide left, right? I think so. We can test it out really quick. Not exactly. Maybe it's a slide right.
To the right.
Slide to the right. And then maybe something I can think about is that this will be at the same, like it doesn't move, so it could stay at the bottom. So if I grab all of these guys, another thing I really like about XD, I know I'm saying I like a lot of stuff. I really encourage you guys to give it a shot. It's a fun software that's super easy to pick up. But another thing I like is that I pasted that element coming here, and then it pasted exactly at the same spot I want it to be. So if I go back to prototype, not here, but from here, you can see that we can change the song to whatever song we want. Maybe some
Awesome.
Eric Lapointe.
I mean, I saw that you had the UI element at the top, and then it moved down to the bottom. So I was hoping
that I would change that.
You're gonna make it consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely got there. So and why do you think that's important? From a user experience side, what do you think it would be good or bad if you had one element in one place and then it jumped to another location?
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. You want to set some consistency in all of your different interaction that. So that the user don't, like if you see the screen and stuff start to shift around, and you want them to start to have some learned behaviors in their experience. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely. Like, right, you're building trust. Could
exactly.
you imagine if every time I open up the iPhone screen, if my little logo jumped around
Yeah.
like you were showing? So it'd be kind of hard. Very cool.
We have
Awesome.
a little music player that we can play with.
Do you want to take a look at some of the submissions we've gotten
Let's
so
do it.
far?
Yeah, let's do it.
That'd be awesome. So we've got a submission here from Joel. So again, the challenge is mobile navigation, and we provided a UI kit for you. So we've got a submission here.
What's the name? Friends map. Okay.
Yeah, so this is friend maps. Looks like you're kind of you've got
You stalk your friends.
topographic view. You've got some avatars. You can see where your friends are. You can kind of see how
Okay.
close in proximity they are.
That's neat. Cool interaction
Looks like there's
here.
an overlay to show some restaurants and or like filter between the content.
So you could choose restaurants that are kind of in the middle of you and your friend to
Yeah.
meet at a certain spot. That's cool.
Yeah. And then we're
Oh.
showing an animation here of
That's
the
cool.
kind of a flyout or a menu panel.
I like it. The colors are cool too. No,
You can go through the feed. We got a lot of content here, which is great.
a lot of work.
Go back to the menu. Let's see. Click on stats. Got some statistic views here. Some friends. Cool.
Nice.
This is
good
great.
job.
Let's look at another submission we have. This one, oh, this one's by Joel. Let's see, who was the first one? Oh, first one was by Simon. Simon, sorry about that. So we got Simon, Joel,
Simon?
Simo. So this is Where Am I? Man,
It's
this is,
a little
get some
small.
really, really
Yeah.
tiny font here.
I would probably,
Joel.
if I was, who's it, this guy?
This is Joel. So
Joel,
yeah,
I would probably try to show what we showed earlier and load this on your phone. You'll be able to adjust some typefaces and some button sizes. But as far as like, I love the white space. The colors are great too, but I would bump the text a bit. That would be kind of cool.
so we've got another submission here by Zulma. This looks like a Welcome to Brew Finder.
That's my type of app. Oh my god! Oh yeah, I'm there. I'm in there.
That is your
Wow,
kind of
what a weird haircut! Look like a pineapple.
This is awesome.
That's cool.
So it looks like we're going through a login flow here a little bit.
Okay.
So Zoma, it'd be really cool if you could show us a couple more navigation elements in here.
Yeah.
If you got the time, maybe show us what the beer finder interface
Yeah.
looks like, or kind of walk us through what are the other screens that we can potentially navigate into. And so we've got
It's a little
fishing.
Nice. Where to see fishing?
Really nice
That's
full
a
bleed
cool.
image.
I like that idea. It's pretty cool. Usually, fishermen will never share their spots, though.
Yeah, that's true.
It's part of the secrets. That's cool.
Cool.
Nice.
So it looks like they got some locations. Awesome. And then we've got one more. Welcome to Wellbeing. Oh, this is nice. So we got
That's cool.
some nice
Yeah, cards. Up the
card
top.
style UI.
Carousel.
I'm taking it. This is a submission by Tom. Tom did a great submission yesterday. Got Land's End. Tom, thanks for participating again
That's
too.
cool.
It's really great just to have you excited about the work that's going on. Let's start. Awesome.
Nice.
This is nice. Cool.
When are we picking a winner?
I think we've got a few more minutes, but
Okay.
I'll see if we've got some more submissions,
Sounds good.
and then we can kind of
One
have
thing.
you cast the final vote.
Yep. So one thing that I will probably do at this point is maybe to fix a bit of the things, do a quick pass at revising some of the work I've been doing, and also try to share it. I didn't got to the watch experience, but maybe it's gonna be for another day.
That's okay.
It's okay. So
I think if I were to describe the primary, secondary, tertiary experiences here, it sounds like mobile is definitely where you start, and that's
Yeah.
how you engage. And it sounds like iPad is something that absolutely supplements the experience because
Mhm.
they're kind of attached to the table. The watch, it sounded like I know you wanted to do some kind of notification, or you wanted to have some type of haptic feedback that,
Yep.
that would kind of let you know, maybe if you're losing the watch could vibrate. But I guess on a priority level, pretty low.
Pretty low,
in regards to. So we're kind of going through the important
That's
work
good.
here, which is really, really nice.
Maybe as we go through too, is there any feedback coming from you on the overall experience? Is there stuff that you would probably change in there, or
For me?
yeah,
For me in particular?
It's always good to ask feedback from people. So I don't know if there's any stuff that you would like me to consider at this point, or just think about it.
I mean, as a whole, I think we've covered the spectrum. We kind of have the activity feed, which is how you engage with the product and how you kind of discover what's happening.
Yep.
At that point, you can kind of tap in and start to kind of prompt somebody else to play the game with you.
Yep.
And we're showing the two experiences there of like how someone else can connect. I think if there was anything that we would iterate on right now, it would only be on a brand level. It would just you'd ask somebody, how do the colors make you feel, and kind of do a little bit of a sentiment analysis. What is this? What does this convey to you? Or if you were to describe to me in words what this app like feels like for you, what words would you choose?
Yeah.
I think we have, I think if I were to go through this on a visual design level, I would start to map it back to what's going to be the design system. We've got varying sizes of avatars. We've got a couple different button states. I think as I would start adding those to the asset library, I would clean and simplify all those.
Yeah.
So that we're you mentioned this about setting customer expectation and building trust. So we want to make sure all the buttons, all the interactions, all the colors are tied to build that trust to the customer, so they know what's a clickable item, what's not a clickable item, what can I expect from these interactions. And at that point, that's only going to simplify the experience to a level. If we want to change the colors, if we want to change the fonts, we can do so.
Cool.
But no, I mean, you've hit the bookends. We've got the prototype running in the iPad and running in mobile.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, great job.
Nice. Thanks for the feedback.
Anybody else have any feedback? Let us know.
Chat. Yeah.
I'm going to make sure we look at a couple more submissions here. Do we generally want to pick a winner?
You can pick one whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
All right,
Okay.
so
Yeah, so
please submit now.
The deadline has passed. So
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
So yeah, deadline is closed to submit the challenge ideas, but there's still 2 more segments going on at the rest of the day where you guys can submit more designs.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to seeing more submissions if you have one. Zolma, I know you mentioned kind of clicking on the map in here, so we'll make sure to definitely pull yours back up. Does anybody else have any questions for Claude while we're working through the prototype? Is there anything you'd like to see?
Quick AMA.
I think one thing that's often discussed here also is, what are the next steps? So we've designed this prototype. We've talked about whether or not this is something we would share with somebody. We definitely want to share it with the community, but
Oh yeah, we get
in the world where we're actually building this for a client, what would we say our next steps are?
At this point, I think I would personally feel pretty comfortable to present this to a client or a stakeholder at this point. I think there's enough meat in there to discuss about. There's like enough fidelity at this point too. I think prior to that, I would have done a previous check-in with my client or stakeholder, just as a I would have done like something with lower fidelity wireframes, so that we agree pretty much on like the flow. So lower fidelity wireframes could have been something we do pretty quick in XD as well. Or I could have also present the different sketches. So I think the fidelity of the sketches is high enough for someone to understand and say, okay, yeah, I understand the flow. So that in our presentation with the client, it's just not like pure surprise and like so much stuff to talk about. So you're at the same time, you're going to present a flow, you're going to present colors, brand. There's like, sometimes there's too much. I would always be mindful of what you present to your stakeholder and at what stage as well. It's always important, and always set the stage before you enter any sort of meeting with your client. Tell them what you're going to present.
Yeah.
Tell them the goal. Tell them what type of feedback you're looking for. That way, it's just like construct a conversation to go in a nice, smooth way. If you're going to present a flow and your stakeholder is going, I don't like the blue, change the blue. Well, later. At this point, let's focus on the flow. Stuff like that.
Yeah, we do something similar at Atlassian, which I think is a framework that really helps frame any type of situation where you're going into feedback. And so a couple things that we cover. One thing is we say, what percentage of done are we?
Okay.
We can say, are we 10%? Are we 20%? Are we 90%? Because that's going to help anybody that's providing feedback understand, okay, well, if you're at 90%, you've probably already gone through a series of feedback to get to where you are.
That's like
another thing you can do is, as you mentioned, you can help paraphrase or frame what's going to be the helpful feedback at this point in time.
Yeah.
If color's off the table, you can just say at this point, branding is locked in. These are the colors that we're choosing. So we're not going to focus on color. We're not going to focus on typography. The feedback that we would find really helpful at this point in time is A, B, or C.
Yeah.
And, sometimes people forget, and it's okay, and they'll still pick on colors, and they'll still want to have and share that feedback, which is fine. And then you can always steer that back and say, awesome, like, that's great.
That's super cool.
But we're going to move on. And
Yeah.
so it's a really good way to just make sure that you as someone who's sharing your creative process is getting constructive, actionable feedback.
Yep.
Because that's what you're trying to do, right?
Exactly.
You're trying to progress as opposed to just not having any direction at all. So
That's good. Another thing that we have done in the past with one of my clients was also the level of conviction about something. So, for example, in let's say I've used the rounded shaped corners or like the fully rounded buttons, and I have a high level of conviction. I feel highly positive that that's the way that we should go, and then my stakeholder has low conviction that we should not do this, then I win. It's kind of that battle of like, do you care? How much do you care? Kind of. And then if we both care at a high level point, then we have a debate.
Right.
So that's a great way to move forward and progress and work together and not against each other. So,
Absolutely. Awesome. So Diego, the XD sketchpads came from a kind of like a creative kit that had some pencils and some stencils in it that was provided by the Adobe team.
Yes, I love those.
That's where the sketchpads.
When I show up in meetings with that little kit, that looks so cool.
Awesome.
Not really.
So why don't we take a look at a couple of these submissions that we have, and let's see if I can take this back to home. So we got Simon. I'll hit the refresh on some of these just to see if any of the fonts have updated. We got Joel. We got Soma. Okay, cool. So we've got the friend maps.
Yep. I like that one.
think
It's
we-
cool. Good design.
And so when you say good design, what does that mean for you?
Yeah. I think overall, it's the structure is there. It's really intuitive. I've seen that type of design pattern in the past. Great usage of color. The icons looks great too. Yeah, I think it's just sometimes it's just like appealing, right? When at first sight you see something and you love the aesthetic of it. Yeah, I like it.
Awesome. That's great. We've got this submission from Joel. Looks like we're still working with the tiny font, but that's okay. So we can definitely
improve it.
Yeah,
Yep.
we can definitely improve that stuff. So feedback here is definitely to make sure that you're thinking about or viewing these screens on your device.
Yep.
Just so that you're getting the right dimensions there. We've got
The brew finder.
the brew finder, which I think you make an appearance in.
Oh my god.
We've got a find a map.
Get a little
This is
stout.
great. We've got some stouts.
Good.
Very cool.
Nice.
This is great. And we're using kind of the swipe up or swipe down as the transition here. We've got the fishing app. Let me go back to home. Got next.
Graphic.
It's really interesting to kind of
colors.
see the old timey topographic
Yeah.
map in there.
Yeah.
That was obviously creative license being used there, but I think it's cool. I think it's great to kind
Bring
of,
back that style
well,
in.
just to add. You know, maybe that's their approach to the whole design. Like
Yeah.
maybe that ends up being the brand character.
That could be
is
nice.
That kind of feel. So we got Tom's submission here. So this was the well-being app that's kind of looking to get you outside and take some
Meditate.
time with your friends to meditate.
Yeah. I would have need that app when I got in Yosemite. That would have been useful.
Yeah.
Find some cool spots to go. That's cool. Oh, nice.
So
That's
we've
cool.
got the Berlin Design Guide. So let's click on the navigation here.
Nice.
Really
Super
nice
cool.
Scrolling.
Nice. You tap in.
Alexanderplatz. Very cool. Let's see what else. Tours. Nice. Really
Nice.
clean navigation.
I like it.
Yeah, it's nice just to see the progression there. That was from Claudia, I believe.
Good job, Claudia.
And
That's
then,
nice.
This is a submission from Lindsay. I'm hoping I'm getting all these names right. I know yesterday I was wanting to make sure I could, maybe it's part of the challenge, but putting your name at least in the save file, or as some of you have embedded your name in there, it really helps us just to make sure that we're talking and sharing with the people who are submitting the design. Like in an endless loop right now. Cool.
I think the game we played on the watch.
Oh yeah, the watch submission. Then we got Feast Finder.
Ooh. Nice.
nice.
Good image.
Got just some progress indication. The next button.
Almost lunchtime here.
This is by Kelsey, I believe.
Let's
So let's
hunt.
hunt.
Good CTA. I like
Awesome.
it. Use the
Got some
iPhone
maps.
X. Probably-
Switch to map. Okay,
That's cool.
cool. Well, we got about another 20 minutes. What are you thinking?
I'm hesitating between two right now.
Okay, tell me which those.
I think the one from Claudia that it was the Berlin one, I think.
Okay.
And that last Feast Finder are kind of cool. Well, they're all cool, but at one point you gotta pick a winner. So I'm probably gonna go with Claudia at this point. I think she
Alright.
has a beautiful name.
Oh,
So
all right.
female version of my name. So
Congrats,
good
Claudia.
job, Claudia.
Awesome. And Claudia, we definitely know you participated before, so thank you so much for continually participating.
Yep.
And really, really nice job. I think if you were to highlight anything other than the beautiful name, what would you say you also enjoyed
I
about the
really like that
experience?
that the overall navigation was super clear to me in that app. Great use of images. I like that kind of I haven't seen even this, and that's pretty
There's
cool.
more.
Nice. I kind of like also those like pastel-ish colors, like the map. It's really cool. For me, just digging in and out and showing. How do you really explain that? But it just felt really intuitive for me, and I can see that I could possibly use that app too. The typography is beautiful too. So good job, Claudia. Really nice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for everybody's submissions.
Cool. Now I think it's time I'm gonna share my prototype.
Let's do it.
Because I would love. You gave me awesome feedback. I would love to share that with the community, and that way I can gather a lot of feedback. And I hope we're gonna make this app real one day. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, that'd
That
be
would
awesome.
be kind of cool
Why not?
to play on that table. So the way to share your prototype with the world or your stakeholder, there's few different ways to do it. I would say that let's start first with, let's say you would share it internally with your team. I would probably recommend you recording yourself within Adobe XD. So a great way to do this is to hit the play button here. Then you got the record button at the top here. So if you hit record at this point, you're now recording whatever is happening in that screen. So I can go through my flow really quick, and then maybe I can later on add a voiceover. So especially when you have different remote teams, it's really great to share feedback at the end of the day, end of a sprint or a week, and in that way you get feedback and people get the full context of what you're presenting. and just not just I need to click around and that's
Right.
it. So let's say I would just power through that flow. It all makes sense, except go. Bah, 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 bah. And then you would maybe watch a replay, close it out, and then let's say I'm done with my presentation. I can click again on the record button. It would save a movie file, so we could say Foosball V1, save it there, and at this point I could just pop it in my Slack channel, ask for feedback, set the stage, and all that stuff. But now one thing that I want to do is to show how you share it with the link on Creative Cloud. So top right here, you have the share button, so you can publish your prototype. So that way, it's going to be accessible to everyone. So by clicking publishing prototype,
Diego wants the Vuvuzela back.
the what?
The Vuvuzela, which is the really long horn.
Okay, so now I'm here, Foosball Pro. There's a few options I can select from at this point. You can allow the comments. Of course, I will do that because that's what I want. I don't want to do it open full screen because it's a mobile experience. I want it constrained within a phone format. Show the hotspots link would be kind of fun, but also at the same time, I know why they put this as an option, because maybe if you do user testing, you don't want to show the hotspots because you really want to know the real feeling of the
Right.
app. And then I could say update link. So right now, updating my prototype. It's taking just a bit here. We have a lot of big images as well.
So Jesse's sold on XD, and as we've been focusing the past 2 to 3 days on using XD and demonstrating not only the quick access of moving kind of into high fidelity and visual design, we've also shown how quickly we can jump into prototyping by taking all the elements that we have that we're creating either through shapes or text that then become linkable objects into
Yep.
the prototype. And then now what we're focused on is sharing that with you guys and eventually giving everyone access to kind of click through the prototype and view what's happening in the same way that those of you that participated in the challenge have shared with us. We showed a new feature that came out, which is the ability to link vector files in your CC library. And we had a few questions about that, just in regards to demonstrating if I have a logo that's in my shared folder library and edit that in Illustrator, we can quickly update that across the product. I think to some degree we could even do that on a systems level through buttons and imagery and photography. I really
Yep.
don't think there's any limit that we can set there. And then what else? We've shown repeat
The
grid.
repeat grid a lot. We show how to prototype. We showed how to set some character styles, how by changing any sort of color and typography, how it affects the rest of your artboards. We've shown quite some stuff,
Yeah.
and at this point right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy that link, post it on the internet here, on Twitter. I'm not really active on Twitter, but we'll just post it out there, and you guys can go ahead and give me some feedback. So if I share that link here, please give me some feedback on this prototype.
Maybe hashtag Adobe XD.
All the
or
hashtag,
Adobe Live.
hashtag I love life, hashtag Adobe Live,
If anybody actually sees this on Twitter,
hashtag Namaste.
it'd also be cool to drop the link in the actual chat feed, just so that everybody else can kind of have access to it, and it'll be in the chat feed for everyone. A little bit of mining.
Yeah. So please give me some feedback, and we'll adjust this as a big team together.
Awesome. That sounds great. Cool. So we have we're kind of wrapping up here. We have another about 5 minutes left, I think, before we're gonna have to sign off. We do have Jeannie coming in next. We also have Peter joining us later on. Thank you, everybody who's dropping in the prototype link. 3 days, man. 3 days,
Yeah.
6 hours, one prototype. We've got about like almost 10 screens, I think, that we went through. We started off with some great sketches. The sketches were definitely something we referred back to. I think that there's a lot of consistency between your sketches to the final designs that we ended up kind of arriving on. Is there anything in particular you'd like to share with kind of the design community, or anything that you think would be good words of advice? I mean, I always like to ask people what your superpower is.
My superpower. It's good to know your superpower. I think my superpower is definitely more around the energy that I can bring within a team.
Awesome.
Really high tempo type of person that can energize people around me, especially in brainstorm. Early ideation is probably one of my strengths. I'm less of a full design system, like super particular and meticulous type of designer. And it's always good to know what you're good at. It's always good to know what you're less good at. Some people say you should focus on your weakness. I'm on the opposite way, where you should continue to know what's your strengths and be good at it. If you're good at meticulous stuff, there's a spot for you on the team. If you're energy type of guy, you should play that role. I come from the hockey world, so every player has their role. If you know your role, just play your role to the fullest, and you'll build awesome team with it. Yeah,
that's awesome. So I mean, being a great team player, being highly collaborative, I think that those are, when you think about brainstorming, or you think about getting in a room with a group of people and working, that's definitely, you're the guy that you want in the room, right? You want somebody that's going to be high energy. You want somebody that's going to bring their full self and kind of help push everybody along and create momentum, but also throw a lot of ideas out that's going to get everyone to kind of start thinking on a collaborative level. So that's awesome.
What's your superpower?
Oh man, I think that there's I think just in design execution overall, I think that I definitely lean towards kind of the very quick, rapid development from design. I think I can go to concept to reality fairly quickly. I kind of classify myself as a full stack designer. So in regards to end-to-end experience, I think what I love to do, or my superpower in a collaborative or group setting, is I really love to see and tap into people's potential, and I love to see what great ideas people have and help to foster them and help to push them along.
That's cool.
And to help provide direction that can be actionable for them, that makes them feel like they're fulfilling their outcome.
Nice.
And so I think that's something that I've having taught previously and having worked with all different types of designers, I really love seeing people in those moments of struggle where they're just like, man, there's something I'm missing here. What am I missing? And then you can kind of help facilitate by asking some really great questions that they get that light bulb moment, and then they're going.
Yeah,
and then they're so excited about the work that they're doing.
Super cool. Kind of a coach.
Maybe,
Keep direction, know the potential, and put them in the right situation to succeed. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we got the player, we got the coach. Maybe next time we can flip it. But Claude, it's been awesome.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Days. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody that's been joining us over the past few days. Thank you for submitting your challenges, your questions, contributing to the playlist.
Yep. We have some great songs here.
It's been really great. We do have 2 more sessions coming up, so make sure to stay tuned and continue to chime in. And as always, reach out to either Claude, myself, or anybody on the team. Ask questions. Let us know how we can help.
You can follow me on Instagram at Picho, Peecho. You can look my website, peecho.design. Feel free to ping me and I'll ask questions. And you mentioned you have like slots that you can meet with people too. So that's...
So schedule some time. Love to do video calls. Thank you so much for joining us and having us share Adobe XD with you guys. We look forward to seeing you again.